Okay, guys, how's it going? So, we got different camera angle for one. You guys are on the other side of my kitchen now. Yay, different. Alright, so we are going to replace the bearings in the Pro 15. Just got them. P.S. This gunk brake clean, non-flammable shit sucks. It doesn't clean that well. I guess it's good. Better than nothing. Also, I did play with a little bit of porting just to kind of clean up in this block here. It's kind of an experiment. Right, enough jibber jabber. Let's get on with it here. Friggin' smoky today here in Vancouver. My God, it smells so bad. It's freaking terrible. Like just there's smoke everywhere. Freaking hate it. Yeah, so it's kind of did this whole thing ass backwards. Usually when you're going to replace engine parts, have everything in stock like bearings and seals or whatever. But of course, being me, I didn't have any of that. So I just kind of got the bearings in today. Well, just kind of, but did get them in today. And decided, well, why not? As we'll be seeing some other videos on the other GT there and whatever else, and some leaf blower stuff going on because I just ordered a new piston for it. Nice and clean. They're the same size, aren't they? I think so, yeah. Alright. Actually, should have just loosened all these off so you guys didn't have to watch me take out screws for half an hour. And I got Honda parts on the way. This freaking Canada Post is bullshit, let me tell you that. Friggin', I had the post office is literally down the street from my house, right? It's pretty friggin' close by. The fucking people have my shit, my parts that I've been waiting 3 months for, sitting there. Just chilling, sitting. Called them, I says, well, it says it's been delivered, but how come you guys still holding on to them? Oh, well, this and that. And I'm like, you fuck you both, or all of you. You're terrible people. It's not like in the United States where you guys get your shit fast and free half the time off eBay. We have to sit there and suffer in it. Okay, so we are going to use... I might be able to get there with my finger. Probably not. Oh, damn. Every time. Let's see, I might just be able to... There we go. Put that out. And make sure, like I said, you always want to mark the direction of rotation, or orientation, sorry. The crank looks okay. This was a used crank out of the parts bin, so... And we're going to get that carburetor off of there. Don't remember what size it is. I'll be right back. My toolbox is behind me, actually. Let's see if I have it. God, I hate blow molded tool cases. I don't know about you guys. Freaking try to get a socket out of there and they get stuck and you can't get it out or you can't get it back in and it's, come on. Frig sakes. Okay, let's try this guy here. Be right with you in a minute. Nope. Hold on, guys. I'm just going to pause this for a minute so I'm not going to take up too much space. Alright, I found the correct size. Okay. That's that guy. Then I'll take that and clean that up separately. Just leave the pinch bolt in, you don't got to take it out. But everything looks, yeah, the bearings, they got a lot of hours on them, so you know what? Bearings are cheap. Alright, oven mitt. Time for the oven mitt. Because things are going to get spicy. I know you guys love fire for some fucking reason, but that's great. Oh, yay, fire, that's burn shit. Get the old can of brake clean going. I don't know if I can... There, look. Oh my God, there's fire. Fire in the videos. God, someone call the police. Just for you guys, since you love it so much. Fucking pyromaniacs. Anyways, moving on. So we're just gonna actually notify us smart. Well, we already know that I'm not, but whatever. Actually, See, I'm in a bit of a hurry here at the same time, and I wasn't thinking again. It seems to happen an awful lot. So you're going to pop out seals on the rear bearing. Like that. And I'm going to just take and clean this crank up here really quick. See, again, I'm doing things way out of order here. Things should be done a little bit differently, but kind of scatterbrained. Can't think. When that happens, all hell breaks loose. Like I said, you want to clean the inside of your crank because there's often all sorts of shit that builds up in there. So do that. Sure, it's all good. This does have a little bit of scratches on it. Like scoring, you can kind of see it there. I do have a new crank, but it's not going to be used yet until, I'll light up the torch again here, until we do the actual rebuild, which is going to be whenever the hell that is. That. Okay, so we're going to use the crank as an install tool. So the front bearing is going to go in first, like this. Get it on there. There we go. So we're going to drop the front bearing in the front, and then pull the crank out, and yeah, you guys get the idea. You guys can do it lots of times, right? Okay. It's freaking hot today, and it's smoky. It just fucking reeks. I feel sorry for all you guys watching in Oregon and California and Washington and everything else, man. Freaking terrible. We got windy here the other day and it all blew the smoke over here. Whew. You guys like my t-shirt? Just got that today. Also, guys, be careful about burning shit with non-chlorinated brake parts cleaner. That's very, very toxic and super bad. You can get what's called phosgene gas, which is poisonous as hell and will kill you. So, or destroy your lungs and destroy your brain and destroy everything. So, just please be safe. That's why I don't like non-chlorinated brake parts cleaner, but from what most of you guys have seen that are on my Facebook, that some stranger left. There you go. See that? The bearings are out. Easy. You just pop, pop, be done with it. Some stranger left a whole bunch of stuff sitting in my parking spot. Oof. Freaking reeks in here. I'm going to let that cool down. I'm going to pause for a few. Be right back. Yeah, but someone left a bunch of brake clean and WD-40 and a bunch of other cool shit, so whoever that was, thanks. Be right back, guys. Okay. Back again. Just took some hot soapy water to that engine block there and cleaned it up. And I'm going to light shit on fire again. Yeah, no, get yourself the flammable shit. It's a lot less toxic than this stuff is. I don't like that stuff. I don't like to use it with anything. It's bad shit. So, yeah, we just gave this guy a scrub with some hot soapy water and a little bit of sunlight. And a little scrub brush there, so get all the grease and oil and dirt and varnish and whatever's off. So, it doesn't take very long. It just takes a little bit of, you know, paying attention to what the fuck it is you're doing. Also, when we heat up the block, you dry it off at the same time, right? You get all that water out of there. And we're just going to use little clots, as always, stick it together with, so no big deal. Just gonna hit all the sides here, get this thing nice and toasty. Yeah, so I cleaned out the oil port, or vacuum port, or whatever the hell that thing is in the front. Got that nice and cleaned out. Cleaned out the bearing journals. Cleaned up all that racket. Oh, maybe let's use some of this. Whatever, it doesn't really matter, just as long as you have some kind of oil that you're using to put together with. Because, like I said many times, you don't want to put it together dry. It's simple. People go, oh, you need to leave the crank in overnight. No, you don't. It can only freeze so far. It's not water. Jesus, Murphy. Front bearing housing a little bit hotter. Got some oil going in there. Oh, for fuck's sake, I just melted the end of that shut. Just smooth. Stupid ass. Alright. Hit that with some oil in the front. Hit that with some oil in the back. A little bit in there. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, let's melt the end shut so it can't you can't use it again. Alright. Then you just drop the front bearing in quickly if you can. Like that. And spin this. Oh, I'll clean this. Ah, for fuck's sakes. There we go. And then just the other hand. Shit. Hot. Hopefully you guys get some entertainment out of this. Me burning the shit out of myself several times on camera, just for you guys. Alright, bearings are in and seated. Now just let it cool off down to room temperature. Don't quench it with water. People think it's a good idea to do that. In my mind it isn't, because you could end up probably distorting or warping the aluminum. Oh yeah, everything turns butter smooth. Hot. Alright, well I'm going to pause and get back at you in a few minutes here. Okay, back again. Yay! Also, for the Pro 15 there, and for most of my small blocks, I got these little dynamite turbo filters. So, just in case you guys are wondering, I got, I don't know, 7 or 8 of them off eBay there. So, freaking they're only, well, I guess for you guys, pretty cheap in the States. Right, onward. I just took 5 minutes to clean up the carburetor, so I cleaned all the dirt off of it. Cleaned the outside as well as the inside. I cleaned out the high-speed needle as well. I forgot to turn on the camera for that, sorry. I just backed it all the way out, took this off, and just kind of cleaned it out and blew brake clean through. And you don't have to take the high speed or the low speed or idle out to do that, but just make sure it moves nice and free. So clean outside and inside. We'll take our crank. And like I said, this is a used crank, and if I don't know, I mean it's got damage on it. You can kind of feel it, but this engine is getting a new, well, a complete actual rebuild rather than me just kind of replacing the odd part soon. I also was able to score I think it's AR products, I believe. I don't think they're around anymore, but a nice purple cylinder head for this engine. So kind of jazz up its look a little bit. Alright, so we got the crankshaft in. If you feel any notchy or binding or anything weird going on, stop and maybe investigate. Next, piston time. Okay, I'm just going to give this piston a little bit of a shot of brake clean just to knock any shite off of it. Just dry it. So, remember, last time we put a scratch on the connecting rod so we know what way it went in. Because if you put it in backwards, not cool. And when you guys are rebuilding Pro 15s, like I said, if there's any taper, and by taper I mean the bronze bushing right here, look for like a tapered edge to it. If there's a taper, that faces towards the crank, and the clip side of the piston faces the rear of the engine. In case you didn't know that, because there is actually a right and a wrong way. Traxxas doesn't tell you that, and they never will. But there is a right and wrong way to install them. We're going to put some oil on there, stick it there, our crank pin, a little bit of oil on there, and remember that scratch I was talking about? That faces out, that's a witness mark, so you remember what way it goes back in. slip our piston down. Like I said, just grab the rod by the beam, just lift it up, and just spin the crank. You guys can see that. Spin the crank, and just drop it on there. All is well, it should just drop right on. Oh god, the idiots are home upstairs. See, just like that, nice and easy. You're not trying to squish and shove it on there. That's a stupid idea. Okay, take our sleeve again. Just gonna give it a little clean up there. Some good old-fashioned brake clean. The kind that's flammable that you can burn shit with, which is my favorite. You can even use it as starting fluid on diesel. And if you guys have watched Zip Ties and Bias Plies YouTube channel, that guy's fucking crazy. He loves brake clean. Him and his old 7.3 IDI is freaking blowing stuff up and being crazy all the time. Yeah, anyways. So we're going to do that. Put a little bit of oil on the outside. There is kind of a few different kinds of clots you can buy. They have KL198, not KL, but KL198, which is a light synthetic oil, Technoplate, which is for airplane engines, like RC airplane engines. You can use it for RC cars as well. And they have the KL200, which is a synthetic as well, that's able to be blended with RC fuel. Super Technoplate works great. All sorts of them out there. They have a lot of really good products. That's why people always ask me, why do you use clots all the time? Why don't you use anything else? Well, it's because it's what I like. Sure, it's a little expensive, but whatever. Okay, so we have our rotating assembly all back together again. No slop anymore either, which is nice. Speaking of that, yeah, well, let's have a look at those bearings for a second there. They're not horrible. They don't look too bad. But if you hold them, they do got a lot of slop in them, so not good. It did have a crank shim. There it is. Because the Pro 15s do have a lot of deflection in the crank. So it's just a super thin washer that goes in the front of the engine. So when you tighten up the collet, the flywheel, it keeps the crank from bouncing back and forth. Right, moving on. Okay, let's get that carb on there. Went on. Engine sits this way. Did it go that way? Yeah, it goes that way. Okay. Same idea. Just take a little oil and smear a little on there. Make sure that O-ring isn't cracked or dried or rotten or anything like that, because if it is, yeah, you won't get a proper seal. And don't go gooping silicone on it, you know. People go, oh yeah, just smear it with the red silicone. As soon as I see someone that's done red silicone to something, I instantly get scared. What has been done for you to need that much of that stuff? It has its place, but not like that. It's not fix-all like everyone thinks it is. Push down your carburetor before you tighten it up again. The reason being is you want it to seat. You don't need to crank these super tight, but you want them snug. Check action. Action is good. Cylinder head time. Yeah, this thing with the new connecting rod, boy howdy did it ever make it run better. But, okay, here we go again. Keep losing things. Yeah, the new connecting rod definitely did help, I can tell you that. It didn't sound like a rattly old diesel truck anymore. Just a little bit of WD on the screws. A lot of people ask why, and I always say you don't want to put shit together dry. Just a little bit of a solvent or any kind of oil or just whatever. Cylinder head went that way. Make sure this is clean. This block is stained. Make sure that your the underside of your head here, make sure there's no dirt or debris. I see a little bit right there. Make sure you clean. Yeah, see, you want that surface really nice and clean, because that's the sealing surface. Just like doing a head gasket on a car, you don't want any shit on there. Okay. Let's see that guy gets up. I can tell you for one thing, after doing a fresh grind on these screwdrivers, man, are they ever better. Wow. It's got a brand new set. Remember, go crisscross. So you don't people just kind of tighten one all the way down and just kind of go from there, and that's really not the correct way to do it. I keep telling everybody that, but for some reason people don't listen. So eventually this engine is going to get a new piston and sleeve and new crank and a bunch of other stuff, so probably some port work. This is also getting a different cylinder head and a new piston and sleeve and a bunch of other parts, so now I got two Pro 15s, which is sweet. I'm sure you guys are absolutely sick and tired of seeing this stupid thing popping up in videos all the time. Alright. Excellent. Tons of compression. No tight spots. And remember what I was saying is if you feel like a tight spot around the top without the glow plug in it, like a notchy feeling, that means that you have pinch left, which pinch is a good thing. You have no pinch. Still have compression, but it won't usually be as good. And with a Pro 15, again, there is a clear gasket that goes there. It's hard to see it, but it's there. I'm going to line this guy up because a lot of people will lose that gasket and won't even notice it's gone until they go to start their engine and it leaks oil everywhere and doesn't want to run properly. Spin the starter shaft and you'll feel it go click and lock into place. Line it up a little bit better here. Right. People go, I wouldn't use WD-40 around my RC cars at all. Well, it's it's a solvent. Let's face it, it's a solvent. It's not, I don't use it for lubricating engines, like you're, storing engines and stuff like that. It's fine for its intended purpose of drawing out moisture, but it can also attract moisture and make it pool in certain areas, so you gotta watch it. But just as a little bit of an aid in putting screws in and things like that, or just kind of a light rust preventative for a short time, it's okay. It serves its purpose. Usually when you have a product that says it's absolutely good at everything, it means it's mediocre at everything. You guys getting bored of me watching turning screws yet, or what? Same thing, go a crisscross pattern in the back here. Or whatever. Alright, okay. Winning the battle here. Next! Full start time. Freaking go on eBay. I'm gonna order another one for that engine over there. So someone commented a while back, is that all you ever run is Pro 15s? It's like, well, no, but I run OSs and SHs and all sorts of shit, but it just so happens that I like to beat the shit out of this engine because it doesn't owe me anything. I'm only into it for less than 25 bucks, so, about 25 bucks. So, and it's earned its keep. As most of you know, I'm not a huge Traxxas engine person. I like to deal with that one-way bearing. So if you get this problem, it's because your one-way bearing is worn. But it turns over, it has compression. This means I gotta clean it. This one-way bearing is also extremely worn out, so after a few runs it just does it again, so I need to buy another one. But for now, there she be. And like I was saying, even if it's all put back together, you can see how much crank deflection there is. See that? Even if it has the collet and the flywheel on, it still does that. So that shim, wherever it went, right here, will solve that problem and keep the crank from bouncing back and forth like an idiot in there. So that was another reason why I actually took this engine out, was just to put that shim there. There we go. Yeah, I gotta take that bearing out. Got another one here, I'll try, see what happens, but for now, there she be. New bearings installed. I got a bunch of other miscellaneous work, cleanup work I gotta do here, and I'm not gonna film it because it's absolutely boring as shit to watch, so until another day, another video. I got, as you guys have seen, the three-wheeler kind of in videos once in a while. I got a cylinder head here for it that I gotta put back together. I got a new jug and new piston and rings and a bunch of other junk, so I'm just waiting on a few more parts for it, and then we will tear down the top end and replace the cam chain, piston and cylinder, and put the cylinder head together and blah blah blah. So that will be another time. Anyways, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Keep on beating your Pro 15s. Anyways, guys, cheers. Happy Friday.